Hello, Dr. Bose in the emergency room. I'm getting a lot of questions from parents wondering whether to vaccinate their children for COVID-19. So let's discuss this. The United States FDA approved the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine for children age 5 to 11. So you might be out there wondering, do I vaccinate my children or do I not? Where did this approval even come from? So the FDA approval and the CDC recommendation are based on an ongoing study of 4,700 children in the United States, Finland, Poland, and Spain. Parents have asked me, is the dose the same? The dose is actually less. These children are getting 1/3 of the dose. They're getting 10 micrograms of mRNA instead of the 30 micrograms that adults and children over 12 are receiving. The rest of the regimen is the same as adults. It's 2 shots, at least 3 weeks apart. Some parents wonder about what the shot is in. It's in a tris buffer that's also used in other FDA vaccines, but it makes the vaccine more stable at higher temperatures. People have wondered, can I give the COVID vaccine at the same time as the flu shot? So we don't have the data in kids yet, but in adults this is safe and you don't need to stagger those shots out, and combined formulations are coming. The data, let's talk about the data. So you have an arm that got the vaccine, 1,305 patients, of which 3 got COVID, and an arm that got a placebo, 663 children, of which 16 got COVID. And the reported vaccination efficacy was 90.7%. Thankfully, no deaths in either group. Let's talk about the side effects. Everyone's wondering about the side effects. Arm pain can last a day or two, mild to moderate headache, sometimes worse after the second dose, and the scary one that you see on the news is myocarditis, or inflammation of the heart. So myocarditis was not reported in this current series, and actually it's been more common with the Moderna vaccine than this Pfizer vaccine. And the FDA did some modeling where it showed that the risk of hospitalization from vaccine-related myocarditis is much, much less than the risk of hospitalization from COVID-19 infection. Now, let's talk about some of the numbers. How common is this risk? As of the last check of data, there were 146 deaths of U.S. children aged 5 to 11. 146. Now, there are 28 million children in this age group, so it's rare, but one is one death too many. And 8,300 hospitalizations, looks like 1.9 million COVID cases per testing, although it's probably higher because not everybody got tested. So also, the other thing is, what about natural immunity? People who get COVID. So it looks like the people who naturally get COVID have a lower antibody response than those who get the vaccine. But it's still protective. It looks like that natural infection holds for about 6 months. So what do you do with all this data? You have to make the decision that's best for you. If you want my medical professional opinion based on my training as an emergency physician, my knowledge of vaccines, and at this point having seen thousands of COVID patients, I think when we look back in history, look back to today, the benefit of the vaccine in children will be much greater than the minor risks. That's what I think the data and the future will show. And another phenomenon that I see in the emergency room with vaccines in general are some of the diseases we vaccinate against, tetanus, polio. Our great-grandparents saw this. Patients paralyzed by polio and rigid from tetanus, horrible diseases that thankfully we don't see. So today we become more afraid of the vaccine itself than the horrible disease it prevents. So we don't want to fall into that trap. So hopefully this data helps you and you can make the best decision for your children and your loved ones. Stay healthy.